I never lose, either I win or I learn. Those are my only options, to whomever it may concern. About to be a hot topic, play with fire, you get burned. Ain't nobody give me nothing, whatever I got, better I earn. I never lose, but I learn. I either win or I learn. Those are my only options, to whomever.
We learned the hard way. We fucked up. We're not perfect, but the lessons we learn in life, they make us who we are, and here we are, starting fresh.
And we're really excited to share our journey going forward with all of you so that we can hold each other accountable through the weight loss journey. Our journey started back in March of 2020. Actually, if you've listened to our podcast, it actually started well before then. We've been, on this weight loss journey pretty much our entire life. But this particular journey, or part of our journey, started in March of 2020, where together we lost over 150 pounds. But then life hit big time in 2021.
Injuries, depression, deciding to sell our home because we needed new space, downsizing with 5 people and 2 dogs and a 2-bedroom house, and all this stuff started to add up where our whole regimen and routine got out of whack, where we were eating trash.
Yeah. And so it really affected our mental state, our physical state. Those of you who have been following along on this journey, I know you can see a difference when you look at us, when you see this on YouTube. And that's why we've started this, our journey. That's what we're calling this, our journey, because it's not just us, it's all of us together. And so we have a whole new page on veganstrongandfit.com called Our Journey, where we're going to be talking about every week something that has led us to success or maybe failure that we've learned from within the week to overcome and help us to continue on this. How we're going to do this the right way this time to make sure that we're able to support you, you're able to support us, and be sure to go on and follow us every week at veganstrongandfit.com/journey.
We're in this together.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Strong AF podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Yuri.
And today we have on an amazing guest, Lee Cooper, who is the founder and CEO, along with Jeni and Zack, who in 2017 created a plant-based barbecue brand called Barvecue. Now, this came with a dream to promote animal welfare, improve human health, and also to improve our planet and give us a happier planet. Now, Barvecue is a national brand with innovative products like naked barbecue, pulled barbecue, and barbecue carnitas. And they just opened the world's largest plant-based smokehouse, and they're entering into major retailers and food service accounts. So welcome on, Lee. We're super happy to have you on.
Thank you, Ashley and Yuri. What an amazing and kind introduction. Thank you.
So tell us more. I know that you started this this wonderful brand with the idea to get away from the animal farming and to really bring, what we think of, especially here in the South. You're located in the South, not too far from us. And so what was it that really drove you to create Barvecue?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. It's funny how you look back in life at seemingly, incidental things and how impactful they are, and so it's just cool to reflect on that. But, Barvecue, the story, as you said, begins in 2017. I had a industrial valve business that I had started, years ago, ran it for 25 years, had the opportunity to sell that company in 2017, was just sort of decompressing, not really necessarily planning to start another business, actually. And I'm sort of a creator, so I like doing things and creating things. And so that summer, I was just sort of taking some time to reflect, and I started to, after a couple of months of that, started to make a list of maybe some things that I might be interested in doing, and particularly things that could have an impact. And at the time, our family we've been a vegetarian for 25 plus years. you know, in the Carolinas, in the heart of barbecue country.
Yeah.
At the time, the whole plant-based movement was starting to take off, but like Beyond Meat hadn't gone public yet, so it, you know, it was still, you know, it was growing, but not crazy growing. And so I had this, my previous company, I had created a national brand, so I had some experience to do that. I'd been around the process business, but I didn't have any formal, you know, food industry experience or, you know, culinary training other than just liking food.
That's a lot of training right there.
Yeah, exactly. Food's all about, you know, great taste and sharing with people. So that, you know, that's all it takes really. But you know, I didn't feel like I had, you know, the pieces, you know, and that same summer, there was this young special ed teacher that was helping out with one of our daughters. And my wife came to find out that she was vegan. We have at the time we had some pet pigs and goats, and you know, so we were sort of connecting over that. They got to talking. I think my wife ended up telling her I had this, you know, this crazy idea of interest in starting a plant-based barbecue brand. And then Jeni found out that this teacher, her name was Andy, that her husband happened to be a food scientist, happened to have gone to culinary school, was a vegan chef, you know, right here in the Charlotte area. And like the chances that those pieces would be there was like, you know, I got to meet this guy. You know, so, anyway, we had dinner. I told Zack, who's a co-founder and, you know, our chief operating officer, you know, I said, I've got this idea that, you know, about starting a plant-based barbecue company. You know, here's some things I think, you know, we could do. You know, we all, you know, barbecue is just so, you know, anytime there's a gathering, there's barbecue there, you know, in the South, you know, and it's really all over the, you know, Kansas has got theirs, Texas, you know, every area's got their sort of unique foods like that. You know, and as vegetarian, you'd eat the sides, you know, frankly, you know, maybe if you're lucky, you know. So, you know, we travel, sometimes we could find some good, you know, the food truck or some, you know, restaurant might have some good barbecues, like, you know, but there was nobody on the national scale trying to do it. So, yeah, I talked to Zack about it. He was like all in instantly. So we decided to form a company. We needed a place to operate it in. And at the time, there was very limited shared kitchen space in Charlotte. So I ended up buying a 4,000 square foot facility. We spent a few months to upfit that as our own commercial kitchen. So we just set about doing product innovation and, you know, trying just every kind of protein we could work with, and came up with, you know, some ideas and some things that really liked, and just started going to local markets, you know, and just introducing the product. We sort of formally launched our first retail product at VegFest back in 2018, you know, and just sampled to thousands of people. You know, so we were sort of just chugging along like that, trying to do, you know, put in the foundational stuff to build a brand. We, you know, all along from day one, we wanted to try to do something. You know, as you mentioned, you know, the global food system is changing. There's a lot going on. You know, we want to be part of the solution to help, you know, end factory farming, you know, improve human health, you know, do things that are better for the environment. You know, so we created, you know, food that's a better for you food, tastes great, just happens to be plant-based. So we were sort of, you know, going along, you know, I put together an advisory board, luckily connected to some people nationally that were, you know, had various connections in the plant-based, you know, scene, you know, and we started working on, you know, what would that look like to get into grocery stores nationally and food service and all that. And so 2020 came and we were ready to start scaling up. And also we were self-funded until that point. So ready to try to go get some funding. And we sort of made that decision in late January. And then the next month, COVID hit. So we were like, you know, like everybody in the world is doing everything. He's like, you know, what do you do? Whatever you're doing, what do you do now? You know? So, you know, so we, like, if you weren't in stores, which we weren't, there was no way to get in them at that point. You know, everybody was just trying to survive and figure out what to do, respond, you know. We decided to start and try to go get the funding that we needed, you know, and then figure we just keep working on what we're doing and, you know, and come out of it. So we were lucky. We got funded in 2020. You know, it was a $2 million seed round with a really strong group of mission-led venture capital companies. And then, you know, we started working on, you know, scaling up from there. So gives you a little backstory on barbecue.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such an impressive and really motivating story, because I feel like 2020 was that pivotal point for everyone, right? And either, you know, it broke a lot of people, but it really made a lot of people so much stronger because they had to push through and find new alternative ways. You know, it created that drive in a lot of companies and a lot of people just in general to find new ways to make things work. And that sounds like that's exactly what you did.
You know, we did. You know, I've learned a long time ago. It's always been, you know, a belief of mine is, you know, you have all these plans and everything. Life just sort of happens. You sort of respond to it, deal with problems. You know, sometimes it works out quite differently than maybe you thought, but maybe it's better. But you know, there's also, you know, there's things that happen in life that have nothing to do with you. You know, they affect you. You know, and all you can do when times like that, you know, I think it's better just to turn in and focus on what you can really do well. Right. Focus on that and just grind through it, and things, you know, work out. You know, so that's what we.
That is great advice. I'll tell you what, I used to be one of the most anxious people, especially when it came to change and things I couldn't control. That's something that I've had to work on myself.
Did you say
used
lot. To be?
Okay, I've gotten better though. Okay, that's why I said used to be. I've gotten better. So of course I'm still anxious about things. You know, everybody gets a little stressed out when it's something you can't control. But I have learned, and I think this is kind of what you're getting at, that things are going to happen, things are going to change, and you have to be able to shift with them and understand that it may not be the way you wanted it to go, but we make new plans and we move forward, and out of that can come a lot of better things that you didn't even know could exist.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you have to, you know, sort of like floating down a river. You just got to be flexible and just go with the current sometimes. You know, it's funny. I'll add a further backstory. We were talking about just little things that happen that sort of affect your whole life, and you know, we always draw back to this connection with our daughter. You know, that, you know, just seemed like an incidental thing. You know, you have somebody helping out in the summer, and it's like spiraled us to this whole barbecue world. So it's like, and then all the people that are affected by that, it's really cool. But actually, my wife has an old high school friend and from years ago in our house for a couple of days. They're connected after a long time, and we were talking, and it was after they were out of high school, but still she was, I think, you know, young 20s or something. And this was years ago. The friend had mentioned something to her about the Body Shop, which that brand's still around. And at the time, it was like one of the few brands that didn't test on animals. And so the friend at the time had sort of shown her this product and said, they don't test on animals. And my wife was like, what? People test on animals, you know? And so that actually was the moment that started her whole path to, you know, learning about, you know, treatment of animals, becoming a vegetarian at that time, you know, and so like we're like, the barbecue story goes way back to that moment when that person just simply told her about something. So, you know, it's funny how things work out like that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So our store, we actually began in 2020. So we're newbies in the whole thing, but you know, we went plant-based in 2020, and it was COVID. We didn't really, you know, nobody was getting out and things like that. But when we started to be able to try new things, I think the first place that we tried barbecue was at Sanctuary Bistro. And they had this yuca wrapped barbecue filet. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing. I have to find this stuff.
No, I think it was even before then. Because I remember we were just Googling, seeing what vegan options or plant-based restaurants around the area, and then barbecue popped up. So I remember like, oh, this is in Carnitas. This is a whole smokehouse. This is the first plant-based smokehouse, and it's just right down the street from us. And then came the time of trying to hunt it down and find it. And I think we just happened to be going to our local farmers market, and we happened to be walking around, and then we looked, and I was like, "Here's barbecue. We've been searching for this. Here it is." And we've been trying it. It seems like every week ever since.
Yeah, I don't think there's a moment that we don't have at least a pack of it in our freezer.
Well, thank you so much for that. It's exciting. There's nothing cooler than you create some product, your team gets it out there, and you start trying to get it out to the marketplace, and then you see people trying it and hear stories about it. So we love the feedback, and just it gives us energy to keep driving forward. So.
Well, it's exciting to see how well you guys are doing, because my biggest fear as being vegan is like, all these brands that I love, I want to make sure that other people are loving them as well, because I don't want them to stop being there. So that is also a little bit of selfish motivation for all of our posts and our spreading the message, because we want you guys to do well as well, so that we can continue having that amazing product.
Well, thank you for that, and all the brands that are there's so many companies just creating these amazing products.
Yes,
it's so cool to say, and brands. There's food trucks and restaurants. Chef Barry, Sanctuary Bistro. He's not only a chef, but he's an artist. Just all a great guy. So, but yeah, he's done some unique things. We have. I don't know if you tried Cool Fish in carnitas area. They have a sushi with barbecue. So
we've had that as well.
There's the regular, pulled pork type sandwich, and smoked chicken salad, and then there's just all kinds of unique things. For me, I was vegetarian for years and years and years. Just went, sort of totally plant based after starting barbecue, and for me, cheese was like the hardest thing, to give that up, and but there's just there's like so many great products out there now. There's company up in dairy cheese that's made up in Nashville. It's like one of my favorites. Some great people are all making great cheeses here in Charlotte. So there's a lot of good things to try out there.
It is. It's great how, and I feel like as much as I wish I would have done this sooner for myself and for the planet, but I feel like we got in at a good time, because there's so many options that it made it so much easier to make the transition. And it's great to see how in the community, everyone is supportive of everyone else. Like I'd never go out and see like this big competitive market like you have in a lot of other areas. Right, everybody in the vegan community is very supportive of each other and uplifting, because everybody wants this to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for me. Just the whole business side of it. To me, it's all about connecting with people. Partnerships with suppliers and investors, customers. All the other partners we have, and to me, it's prior to this, I was a long time vegetarian. I was in the industrial valve world. So it's like good business, you're doing the same thing. What's for me, so much fun about this space is you're connecting with people on, all kinds of business situations and everything. Yeah. And there's this connection, over food, and just this common desire to, help make a better planet, for everybody sort of got their reasons, but so it's really cool to bond with people and just connect with them, over that.
Most definitely.
For me, how long have you guys been in the Charlotte area?
I have been here since high school, so
pretty much all my life.
Yeah, he's been here all his life. I've been here since high school.
So you've seen it change a lot,
Oh yeah.
I grew up in Charlotte, moved here in 6th grade. I'm an old guy now, so it's a long time. Charlotte's changed a lot, over the years. But when we did VegFest in 2018, we literally sampled barbecue with thousands of people, and it was, for me, having grown up in Charlotte, it was so cool to see just the diversity of people that were interested in plant-based options. There was kids that were toddlers, and 80-year-old people, every type of person that you could think of was there and interested. So, and it was so cool to me to see as crazy as this world is and how we're all, disconnected, that to see people connect over, over food, which is what people generally do over food, but it was
Right.
cool to see us all connect like that. So,
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you said about the connection, because that's so true. And it's great to see, like, whenever we first went vegan, it was,
It was hard
definitely
to
a
connect.
change for us, and having to, okay, we'll come, but we got to bring our own thing. So we decided to do like our own Thanksgiving and host, and we did a fully vegan Thanksgiving. And, but, in a way of everybody's favorite types of foods, and just made them vegan. And everybody was super happy. It was really cool to see everybody going, "Are you sure this is vegan? Are you sure? Are you sure that is?" Because there, like you said, there's just so many options out there now that you don't have to compromise taste to be contributing to the world, your health, the animals. And so that's the really great thing.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I get a kick out of, being at work, eating around my peers and coworkers, and they're like, "Oh, somebody's got some barbecue in here," or whatever. They're like, it's not barbecue. It's not barbecue. And I'm like, "Yeah, you're damn right. It's not barbecue. It's barbecue with a beef." I was like, "Oh my goodness, it looks good. Whatever it is." I'm like, "Yeah, you should try it. Just not mine. You should go out and purchase it on your own."
We need to get you guys over to the smokehouse and and show you around a little bit. It's really
I would love to do that. And if you allow kids, our kids would enjoy a tour, but I don't know how you feel about that, but we can talk offline.
we need some. Actually, when we had a grand opening for the facility and had sort of open community into it, and we did plant tours, for that. That was back in November, but we do tours occasionally on Fridays. We run production Monday through Thursday, so we don't do them when we're running production, but we still. But even just coming into the front of the plant, the break room and stuff, we let that reach out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's really cool to have. We're proud of it. It's cool to have first have a plant-based smokehouse that's dedicated to that, even have that, but have it in North Carolina, and we're excited to have the facility. It's really neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of which, since you're based in North Carolina, and I know you're nationwide, so how did that process go with you really pushing this product outside of North Carolina, outside of being local?
Yeah, it's really difficult, frankly. It takes a lot of hard work. I think luck, but it's a lot of hard. You sort of do a lot of hard work to put yourself in a position to maybe get some luck. But we when we started it, as we started to scale up or knew we wanted to scale up, I just tried to make some connections into the plant-based space and into the grocery space, food service, to people that had been there and done some things, just to at minimum to learn what we needed to be doing to try to get into groceries and that sort of thing. It was actually when we had our first open house, when we opened our original facility, there was a couple that was just involved in one of the Charlotte vegan groups that came to the grand opening. As a girl named Leilani Munter. She had to be a vegan race car driver, but just sort of she was racing on the ARCA circuit at the time. They were serving like Beyond Burgers at NASCAR events and stuff. So nationally connected, and so they just came. They became barbecue customers, and we connected. Started talking. And I said, get this crazy idea. We want to try to build a national brand, and Leilani said, "Well, you need to meet this guy named Jason Stefanko." And Jason was you've heard of the Gardein brand. It's one of the main, probably one of the first plant-based meat companies, but really forged the path for a lot of it. Still a major brand. Well, Jason was the executive chef for Gardein from the time that they came to the U.S., a very small company, until they, eventually they were bought in like 2017 or something like that. So he'd well-connected vegan chef, out in LA. So anyway, I think we went to see Leilani race at Daytona, and they were serving barbecue in the pit road, with their crew, and Jason happened to fly in for that event. And so I met Jason, and he was excited about barbecue, and I said, I'm trying to put together this advisory board, to try to make some connections into space, and would you be willing to help out? And it's just, again, it was one of those connections to somebody willing to connect with you and help you, tell you what to do. And so Jason connected me to some people, on the sales side of the business. We made connections into legal, into the finance side, and just through different people, and I just sort of built this group of people that can help, guide us and give us some insight on the steps to take. So that started, conversations about, what pricing need to look like, what, packaging, just things we need to do fundamentally to get there. And then, I mentioned once we, and so we were trying to learn, build out, just proof of concept of what we're doing. Do people like the product? What do we need to do? What's that going to look like? How do we scale? How are we going to scale it up from commercial kitchen, to, if we're able to start getting the groceries, what's that going to look like? And then we in 2020, when we got funded, then we made the decision. When we were doing like product innovation, like we're thinking, if you start to scale, we determined early on that, barbecue, what it meant to us was authentic wood smoke plant burgers. And so we thought, well, we start to scale, everybody's going to want to use like smoked flavors and all these things, and there's some good ones out there, but we like tried product innovations using those and then just really smoking the product, and there's no comparison. I mean, it's, it's just, it also affects the texture of what we're doing, which is, key to that, a lot of things our products, so anyway, we determined that we were going to, if we got funded, we were going to need to do it, have a larger facility. And, our objective was going to try to figure out how to scale and maintain quality and consistency, authentically wood smoking product. And so we spent a lot of time working on that. We were fortunate enough to find a facility, basically a fairly new building that was empty, near our old building, and we went in there, and basically it was a big empty box. We designed a plant within that box, and started construction last January and opened the plant in September and October. So while we were building that capacity, then we started, we hired somebody to help us with retail sales, and somebody to help us with food service, and we just started trying to get in front of customers, and just present the product. A lot of buyers we introduced the product to, they liked the product. It was unique in the space. There's a lot of burgers, a lot of chicken nuggets out there, and they thought barbecue was something unique. So that sort of gave us some opportunities, and we just, started getting some wins. And, we're still a really small emerging brand. We're, made great strides in a few years, but we have a long way to go. So we're still grinding it out, trying to step forward, so.
I would definitely say, with the way everything's happening, with you meeting all these people, it seems like the law of attraction is very strong. You just being in a great headspace and everything, and then everything, the way the universe is working, everything just seems to be falling in line with meeting this person and you having this imagination, this idea, and you two networking and just everything coming to fruition. It's just amazing just hearing the story of everything. It's great. And then learning not to give up, just the motivation and fortitude and the grinding, like you said, not just wanting to quit when things get rough. It's a wonderful story.
I appreciate that. That's totally true. It's there's been a lot of things along the way that just sort of felt, it's like meeting Zach, early on. It's just like, Jeni and I looked at each other and was like, this is like sort of meant to be, you just sort of go for it, and there's been a lot of moments, and a lot of it's people connections and that sort of thing that just, you sort of feel like you're in a groove. You feel like you're doing, what you should be doing, what you're, it's for me at this stage of my life, I want to do something impactful.
Mhm.
I also, for me, it's, it's about trying to help each other. That's what we're here for.
Right.
If we don't help each other, then what's the point? And
Right.
so, I think, and that's one thing that's cool about the space is I think there's a lot of people, that help each other out,
Yeah.
want to be a part of that.
Especially in the plant-based community. Like you said, you meeting all these vegans and plant-based chefs and even NASCAR drivers and everything. It's just some things when it happens, it's just like, oh my goodness, there's no explaining this. This is just something that was meant to be. It's just meant to work like this. It's just mind blowing.
Really confirmation that you're doing what you were meant to be doing.
Yeah. Just living in your purpose and just going from the industrial to the food services. Who does that? That's not something you see every day. You don't see anybody just, I think I'm done with this. I'm gonna just do this. That's something like you do as a hobby. Like, it's something you do and it's serving a purpose for the environment, for the animals. I just hope the viewers and listeners really catch a hold of that, because it's just, when you really wrap your mind around it, it's just mind blowing. It's like, what? How in the world? And then just us sitting here hearing it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's just meant to be. You can't write a story that well. It's just meant to happen. It's just something the creator put upon you, and everybody is just falling into place. It's metaphysical. It's just out of this world. It's unheard of.
Well, thanks for that. Yeah, spot on.
So I would love to share with all of our listeners some of the interesting ways that we've used barbecue. And then I would really like to also hear, because I'm sure that you've seen a lot, been tagged in a lot of things that people use this as.
We just really want some ideas.
I'd like to hear some creative things that you've also seen other people use your product for. So some of our favorites are the barbecue nachos, which is a must. We have those at least once a month. Probably more.
We have, what's the word to describe? We have like an infatuation with nachos.
Yeah, nachos are incredible,
we
especially
have to have nachos at least once a week. The whole family, the kids, we want nachos. We want nachos.
So we put a little cashew cheese on there, and then of course the barbecue.
The naked.
We generally do naked
sauce.
Barbecue, and we put a little. We make a sauce with some ketchup and brown sugar and some red wine vinegar. Put that all together, and then dice up some jalapenos, tomatoes, onions. That's always a winner. Another thing that we love is a loaded barbecue potato, and we just pile everything high on there. And the kids, it's great because the kids love all these too. And it's hard sometimes to find things that the kids are gonna eat, but they eat all of these. And then the one that we got the biggest excitement from the kids was this week. I made on sourdough toast, I put the barbecue and mac and cheese sandwich.
I think I saw a picture of that. That looked pretty amazing. Yeah,
It was pretty good.
sounds good. It's hard to beat mac and cheese and
right. So I'm curious, what are some of the creative ways that you've seen it used?
Yeah, well, some of the, I guess, that come to mind to me is most creative, or I probably already talked about, was Cool Fish doing sushi. They do a Korean barbecue bowl. Davidson Ice House is local restaurant. They use it as their sort of smoked vegan chicken option on all.
Yep, had that as well.
You mentioned Chef Barry. He's always has something creative in there. But that BBQ mignon with the Uber bacon wrapped around it, it's amazing. Julia over at Nourish, she's always doing something unique. She had a moussaka recently with barbecue in it. So it's particularly the naked we sort of created originally for food service, because it's just a great wood smoke plant-based protein. There's nothing like it, and you can use it in a lot of different things. One of my favorites for that is just sort of the classic chicken salad. And everybody has their way they do chicken salad, but it's really good for that. I'm always, probably what the original thing, sort of idea where it came from to me was just that classic, Carolina pulled pork sandwich. To me, a great toasted bun. I like coleslaw on mine. Some people don't. Everybody's half and half, but a great bun, just some BBQ with a little, nice tomato-based sauce on it. For me, everybody's different on that too. A little coleslaw, and it's hard to get much better than that. It's sort of classic. One thing about barbecue, and then I love, just our carnitas, and I can just eat those right out of the pan. Great tacos, burritos, whatever. But barbecue's, it's really ready to eat. You just stall it, put it in a hot pan.
Yeah.
Get the amount of char you want, or just put it on, whatever pizza topping. It's pretty versatile. And there's a lot of ways you can use it. So, haven't seen too many breakfast applications yet, but I'm sure I think we saw somebody maybe wrap it up in a breakfast burrito or something recently. So.
Okay. Thank you for the challenge. We're gonna have to figure that out. Awesome.
That's the thing. It's like you said, with the way you cook it and stuff. We've tried certain, I won't name any names, but certain plant-based proteins where if you have it on too high of a temperature, it may stick to the pan or it may burn. This barbecue, it's just amazing. There's nothing you can do to it. There's no way you can.
It's hard to mess up.
You can just sit there and burn. You can forget to put any oil or water in the pan, and it's not gonna burn. You can put too much in there, and all of a sudden you be like, "Oh my goodness, I just poured too much in here. I'm gonna have to add more barbecue." And then nope, it just absorbs it. I'm like, what? This stuff is amazing. And then the kids, they'll be running around. What are you cooking? What are you cooking? Then they look, oh yes, it's barbecue. We're having barbecue sandwiches. Yes. It's just a family favorite for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
We had part of the reason we did it was just to be able to have a gathering of people, or go to a gathering of people, and and have an option. And we've been to a few parties the past couple of years, with particularly this last year, things started opening a bit, and people were serving barbecue. So it's so cool to see that. And we had this past summer, we had a big family gathering, and it was at our house, and everybody was there. It's a pretty good group of people. Everybody was eating whole BBQ sandwiches. It was just a classic, and everybody was eating, enjoying it. It was so cool to see us get to that point, and everybody sort of sharing that. So
yeah, that's awesome. So how can our listeners find your product? Where all are you located that they can get that?
Yeah, so we're in a few local smaller markets we've been in since day one. Mecklenburg Market down in Charlotte near the hospital, Josh's Farmers Market up north, several around town. We're in Lowe's Foods now. They've got 70 stores in the Carolinas and Virginia. Earth Fare. We're in the fresh market, all the fresh market stores, East Coast. We're in the next few days, we'll be in all the Harris Teeters. So that's a huge launch for us. Excited. That's the sort of grocery store that I grew up in Charlotte with. So we're excited about that. We're doing several other stores that are coming. The Giant becomes outside this area. But the best thing is if we keep our locator on our website up, try to keep it really accurate. So check that out, and it'll tell your local stores. I did want to point a couple things. We got the Harris Teeter launch, which is I think Harris Teeter's got 150 stores in North Carolina, so it's a big North Carolina coverage for us. We're also in a bunch of local restaurants. We're in some college food service a lot in the Carolinas, and also we're going after venues. We're out at the Whitewater Center now, the Kannapolis Cannonballers baseball park. Working on some others. If you haven't tried barbecue, we're going to be at Charlotte VegFest, which they've done a couple junior ones, but they're doing the big Charlotte VegFest September 17th. And sure you guys will be there. But there'll be I know a food truck serving some tacos, barbecue tacos with carnitas. And then we'll be sampling, we'll have a booth and we'll be sampling, I think we're going to do, barbecue sliders. So come out and try barbecue. We'll have some coupons and stuff for, take to the local store and get a discount off the product to try it out.
That's so exciting. So yes, to all of our listeners who are local or ready to travel to Charlotte, come on in September 17th, correct?
I think so.
All right. And then check out VegFest and check out Barvecue there as well. And Lee, it's been really,
Hold on. I want to say, what was it? Maybe a few days ago, I had seen something on maybe Instagram or Facebook where you had representative from the House of Representatives in touring the facilities. And can you talk about the initiative that you're focusing on with that?
Yeah, so it's there's all kinds of connections we're trying to work, but actually there's a group in the North Carolina House that's working on, interested in sustainability and interested in helping alternative protein companies. And they actually reached out to us and wanted to come in and, meet us and learn about barbecue and learn about the facility. And so they came in, we sampled the product, none of them had ever tried it before, but great connection. And, they're working on, how they can help the movement, help the space in North Carolina. So it's just the initial early connection, but it was great. I think we've already got some new members of the Senate and House that are coming by soon to sort of follow up on that.
That's awesome.
Wow. I love that. I love the outreach there. That's great.
Network.
So Lee, before you go, we have to know, and all of our listeners want to hear, where do you get your strength from?
You said it right. I'm so happy.
Thank you. Been working on it.
Where did I get my strength from? My family, my parents, my immediate family. It's just sort of, our girls, it's trying to make a better place for them.
Mhm.
And I think just, personally just trying to be all about kindness and just helping each other, so I've been fortunate, throughout life, and, I want to share that with other people and try to pass along the same thing.
Most definitely.
Lovely.
Well, Lee, thank you again for coming on. We've had such an amazing conversation, and we can't wait for our listeners to hear this and go out and check out your product.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed chatting with you guys, getting to know you a little bit, and come by and see us.
We will.
Appreciate you being a big barbecue fan and all the time. Love the feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Strong AF podcast. We hope you really enjoyed this episode.
Just do us a favor, go on the Apple Podcast, leave us a 5-star review, let us know how you enjoyed the episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just drop us a couple comments. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah, we always love hearing your feedback, and let us know what you'd like to hear more of as well.